let's hit the field.
All rise.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
It is Friday, September 27th, and the Yankees were taking on the Pirates in Game 1 of a 3-game set, having already won the American League East. With a win, they'd be one step closer to securing home field advantage in the playoffs. My recap, your reactions coming up next. This is Pinstripe Territory.
Welcome to the New York City.
Pinstripe Territory.
Just when they thought I was out,
They pull me back in.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back. Tough night for the Yankees. They drop a 4-2 game to the Pirates. Joining me tonight to talk about it is my West Coast compadre, TK. Terrence, how you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. Yeah, that was a tough game, but it doesn't really matter all that much. Obviously, you want to win every time you get out there, especially they're facing Skeens tomorrow, so
Yeah,
going to be tough against him, man. But I'm excited to watch him pitch just as a baseball fan. I'd like to – we threw out a little bit of a punt lineup tonight. I'd like to see Judge, Soto go up against the Skeens, have our best go against him just to measure up because that guy for the next decade is going to be lights out, so –
I see some people in the chat that are upset that Judge and Stanton got the night off. I didn't really care. Honestly, these guys deserve a night off. Judge has played in 83 straight games. He just clinched the East. Everybody was probably partying tonight. The Guardians are losing right now. The Yankees are going to win one of these games, so they're going to win the home field advantage contest here. I'm getting a little bit of background noise, TK. I don't know if it's if you have headphones or something you can plug in or whatever. Turn down your volume.
Oh, yeah, that may be it, but
Sorry, buddy.
hold on 1 second. I'm sorry, man.
Go ahead and mute yourself real quick. I'll mute you real quick.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, it's weird to watch a game and not be totally stressed out. The only things we're worried about right now at this point are home field advantage, team health. Yankees are so good on the road that I'm not sure home field advantage is a huge concern for them. Let's see if TK is ready to come back here. You there?
Is that better?
Yes, that seems better.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, all right, we'll keep an eye on the Astros-Guardians game, but let's talk a little bit about Carlos Rodon, who finished off his second year with the Yankees tonight. Next stop, the playoffs, probably the number 2 starter, but didn't pitch great tonight, didn't pitch bad. But I'll tell you what, Cole and Rodon, probably the best 1-2 the Yankees have had in the playoffs since probably, CeCe and A.J. Burnett back in 2009, you think?
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that just because with this, I call this like the Judge era, so that's pretty much from 2017 on. Before we had Cole, we had Severino as our ace and Tanaka. So I think that's probably the best 1-2 we've had in that era until obviously now Cole and Rodon, and I probably take Cole and Rodon over Severino and Tanaka. Love playoff Tanaka, miss him, but probably going to take Cole and Rodon over those two.
Yeah, let's take a look at Rodon's stats from this year. He went 5 1/3, 4 hits, 2 runs, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts tonight. He has now made all 32 starts, so that's a big deal. 16-9 with a 3.96 ERA, 175 innings pitched. 195 strikeouts, 57 walks, and a 1.22 whip. The one thing that concerns us is the home runs. He's given up 31 home runs now. You mentioned before the show that 23 of them were solos, but obviously you don't want to give up in the 30s of home runs. Is that worry you at all in the playoffs?
In the playoffs, yeah. But they mentioned that on the broadcast. So he certainly has a higher percentage of solo home runs than the average pitcher does in the league. But still, yeah, we're talking about like 32 starts, 31 home runs. So almost 1 home run per start. That's certainly, in the great words of Joe Girardi, it's not what you want. It's not ideal. I had mentioned to you, I think Cole, 2021, I think it was. Cole had like a good year, but he was giving up a lot of home runs, so he had a little bit of an inflated ERA. And then he cut down on the home runs, and he was a lot better. So I think that's sort of an adjustment he'll have to make in the offseason. He may have to play around with some grips with his off-speed stuff, mechanically just change some pitch, some pass on the pitches. But in the playoffs, yeah, I mean, it's a little concerning, sure. just because a home run is like an electric thing to happen. And especially if there's guys on, that can really turn a game really quickly. So, I mean, you give up a grand slam in the playoffs, it's like it's over because you're facing A-level stuff. You're not really scratching across like 4 runs in the playoffs is hard.
Yeah. It worries me a little bit, but, he also has the potential to step up and have like a dominating type of outing. Now, he's a guy who pitches on adrenaline, and the adrenaline in the playoffs is going to be like extra hype. We got a few people in the chat that are just completely like over the Yankees after one loss, despite being American League East Division champions, despite having the lead now for home field advantage. People are saying, "Oh, this isn't a World Series team," and "Oh, they suck." And guys, settle down. This was a game. This was a punt game. I mean, you had Grisham out there, you had Oswaldo out there. I mean, it was all the guys that Boone doesn't like to play were out there today. Wells got the day off. Look, they won. They let their foot off the gas a little bit today, and none of us have been through the grind of a 162 game season in 180 days. But I'm sure that it's just a nice little mental break to have a game and have a day off. Like, I know you're going to get next week off, but to just have like a game on the schedule where you can just rest up. Like Judge said, he wanted to take the day off today. The captain says he needs a day off. He needs a day off. I imagine they're going to have him out there tomorrow against Skeens. Major League Baseball wants that matchup. And then, Sunday will probably win anyway. So let's just settle down, people. Come on. Joe Vittori says, they didn't win 100 games, losers. So, all right, next segment here, we're going to call this Tough Questions. On a game like tonight, there's not a lot of positives to talk about. There's not a lot to break down. So you got to introduce, as a podcaster, if you want a full show, if you want a good 20 minutes, 30 minutes, bring up some topics that maybe a little bit out of left field. So I'm going to throw some questions at you, TK, and we'll see how you handle these. So let's start with, who on the Yankees' current roster will not be on the team next year?
Ooh, man. I think
let's
the obvious one.
Let's go through it. Trevino.
I
think he'll be back. Let's just go through. Yeah. Well, fuck Fangraphs. Let's just go through it. Like, let's just rip. So Trevino, think he's coming back? I think he's coming back, probably.
Yes. I'll just go yes or no. Yes.
All right. So Wells, obviously. Rizzo, is he coming back?
No.
I don't think so either. So Rizzo's gone. Gleyber Torres, you've already established all season long he's not coming back. I also think he's not coming back. But they don't have a lot of other infielders like that are ready. Vivas didn't have a good year. Oswald Peraza didn't have a great year. They could start Oswaldo Cabrera, but I think they like him as a utility guy. But do we still think Gleyber Torres is gone?
Good for him for having a strong finish, but no, I don't think they're going to want to pay the money that he will want, and you can just put Jazz at second and solve third base in another way.
Yeah. So Volpe and Jazz obviously both coming back. Juan Soto. Let's go to Juan Soto.
Ooh, man, I hope so. My heart is telling me yeah, but my body's telling me no, man. It's all right.
Let me put it this way. I'll put the pressure on you. If you get it right, you get the value of his contract deposited in your bank account. If you get it wrong, you owe the amount of his contract. Will he re-sign with the Yankees?
It makes me want to throw up to say this, but I really think he's going to the Mets. I really strongly feel that way. I just don't. First of all, the Mets have the Scherzer and Verlander money coming off their books. They have a lot of contracts expiring. They have a lot of young talent coming up in their system. Yes, they have some holes to fill, obviously, but priority number one is going to be Juan Soto for them, and they're going to want to build their franchise around him for the next 10 years. I think that Juan Soto loves New York. I think he likes that market. Obviously, the Mets check that box, and I think that Steve Cohen will just simply not be outbid, and he's a Scott Boras client, obviously. So having said that, you obviously have to think that he's going to take the highest money just because he's a Boras guy. I think the only way he stays with the Yankees is if he somehow uses the Mets to drive the price up, where he has a number in his head where he's like, as soon as they hit this number, I'll stay a Yankee. That's the only way I see him staying a Yankee, because he loves being a Yankee. But really, I don't think it's going to play out that way, man. I think that the Mets are going to be like, okay, what did the Yankees offer you? Oh, 50? Okay, we'll go to 55. Like, you know what I mean? I just don't, and
Yeah.
I don't think he'll stay. I don't.
CM says, why would you move Jazz to second when he's showing great promise at third base? Who do they have that's a better option at third base? That's a good question. So Jazz came up as a second baseman, and it's more his more natural position. He's made a lot of errors over there at third base. I mean, he's shown some flashes of brilliance, but I think he's a plus defender if you put him at second base right now. A
Yeah.
lot more range. He does have a good arm. Like, it's probably too good of an arm for second base, honestly. But, can help on, turning the double play, that type of thing. I think they're going to move him to second base. And that opens the door to, who plays third base for the Yankees next year. Bregman, maybe. I mean, Bregman's going to be a free agent. That could be a nice little steal from the Astros.
Yeah.
I could see the Yankees doing that, especially if they don't bring back Soto and you got extra money to spend around.
Oh, for sure. If they don't bring back Soto, I expect them to make like a splash like that and bring in like a Bregman. But yeah, for Jazz, I think that he profiles better as a second baseman. His range is better over there. Like you said, it's his more natural position. And it shows what an incredible athlete he is to just learn third base on the fly like that when he got traded over here. So super cool of him to show his versatility, but I think he ends up at second. And then, Bregman could be a nice little fit there at third. I don't know what kind of year he's had, but I've seen the comments saying this was Alex who said, I don't think it's about money for Soto. It's about legacy. Plus the Mets can't offer him Judge protecting him in the lineup. I just disagree. I do think it's about the money. He turned down $440 million from the Washington Nationals, a team he absolutely loved playing for. He won a World Series there. They were going to, the whole shebang, retire 22 in Washington. He was going to be God over there, and he turned him down. Yes, the average annual value was pretty low considering. I think it was around like 26 million because it was like a 15-year deal or something. But he turned them down. I 100% think it's all about the money because players don't think like fans. This is their livelihood, and this is their life, and it's an ego thing. It really is, because the money that they make shows other players I'm this good. Basically, that's what they think.
Buster only said that he was on the show the other day, and he said basically a lot of players equate money with respect. Right.
Yeah.
And that could be what Soto's doing. But he also had Boris advising him. That's the agent's job. The agent told him probably, hey, do you want to be in Washington long term? No, then turn it down. We get you more money in the future. He was already rich at that point. I mean, he's been a millionaire since he signed. So, he bet on himself. It'd be interesting to see what happens. But right now I'm leaning towards him signing with the Mets. I do this video every year, 5 Yankees who won't be back. And I make predictions about who's staying, who's going. This year, like 4 of them are locked down, like for sure out of here. And then like number 1, I'm debating whether to include Soto or not. I haven't, usually it's done by now, but I have all week. I'm going to work on it this week and make my final decision. But right now I'm leaning towards him going to the Mets. Do you think the Yankees have to win the World Series for Boone to come back?
I think they have to make the World Series for him to come back. I don't think they have to win the World Series, but they need to win the American League and go to the World Series.
That's fair.
I don't think they need to win the World Series, but if they get bounced in the CS or God forbid the DS, people are going to be calling for his job. And I do think the Yankees are just going to replace him with an Aaron Boone 2.0, and that he's really just going to be. And I'm talking about, this isn't what I want. This is just me saying what I think the Yankees are going to do, because organizationally, this is how they function. You can agree or disagree with that, but they're going to basically just hire Aaron Boone 2.0 and throw chum to the fans. Yeah, we fired him. New voice in the room. And maybe that does something. Sometimes it does. I have no idea. I don't even know who they would hire, who they would even consider hiring. But they're not going with like Buck Showalter or somebody like that. They just aren't. So no, I don't know.
It'll be somebody young. It could be Shelley Duncan. Yeah, I kind of want somebody who has some managing experience if they decide to get rid of Boone. I'm tired of giving the keys over to a guy who's never managed before. I think you got to have some managerial experience. But I agree with you. If they don't go to the World Series, I think his job is on the line. What about Garrett Cole? Obviously, dominating performance yesterday. He's got the opt-out. Do you think he's going to opt out? And do you think that if he does opt out, that the Yankees will bring him back?
This is a really interesting one because he's making $36 million, and Scherzer and Verlander are making $43, but they're like 40 years old. So is there more money out there for him? He had a Cy Young year and then a pretty injury very mid-year following up that. And he's 34 years old. He's going to be 35 years old. So yes, I think that they will add the 10th year if he opts out. I probably think he does opt out just because I think he probably knows the Yankees will add the 10th year and he'll opt out just for that reason. But it's a very interesting conversation to have because if he opts out and you add the 10th year, I think he's going till age 40 by the end of that contract. Now, I think Garrett Cole is somebody who is a professor of the game, knows how to pitch, is incredibly savvy with all that, and he will reinvent himself. And I do think he'll kind of age like fine wine. He's not throwing 100 anymore. He's even not throwing 100 anymore now. But I definitely think that he'll be able to be successful at an older age, kind of like Verlander was with the Astros. I think Matt Blake's a great pitching coach, will help him make the adjustments. And maybe he'll have, I don't know, he'll have lunch with CeCe. CeCe did it. He had a really down like year or two and then reinvented himself and then was really effective at the end of his career. So I don't think he's going anywhere. Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere just because also like the presence that he has in the clubhouse and for the franchise. I mean, Judge and Cole are really like the two faces of the franchise right now.
Yeah.
Judge more than Cole, but you know what I mean on the pitching side.
So depending on what happens with the number 1 or number 2 seed, the Yankees could play either the Orioles, Royals, Astros, or Tigers in the division series. So let's talk a little bit about, who we match up best against and who we match up worst against. I'm honestly kind of terrified of the Tigers because they're on such a heater right now. They remind me of like the 0-2 Angels or like last year's Diamondbacks, where just like they're catching every break. Their starting pitching is dominating every single night. They've got the best lefty in the game, and lefties give the Yankees so much trouble. Like, I'm terrified of the Tigers, honestly. And they're young. They don't know any better, right? They don't know that they're too young. They're just on fire right now. And they just made the playoffs tonight. They clinched it. Royals obviously have Seth Lugo, who dominated us. They have Reagans, who's tough. Orioles, I think we can beat the Orioles. I know they just took 2 out of 3, but I think in a division series we can beat them 3 out of 5. I really do. And then the Astros, obviously, it's terrifying. I think I want to beat them, but losing to them again will just suck my soul out of my body. So what are your thoughts on postseason?
I think ideally I'd probably want to see the Royals in the DS. I think I really don't think they got a couple good pieces. Obviously Bobby Witt, great player, a Cole Reagan, Seth Lugo, they have some nice pieces, but I really don't think that they're ready yet. I don't think they're ready for this moment. I totally am with you on the Tigers. Tarek Skubal is lights out. I think he's going to absolutely shove against the Yankees if he gets matched up with them. And then, like you said, they kind of have like house money right now. Like they're not supposed to be here. If you told me 2 months ago they were making the playoffs, I would have been like, give me some of that Bourbon you're smoking over there because there's just no way. And
Edward NG in the chat says they're going to definitely play Baltimore or the Royals, but that's incorrect because that's unsettled. It depends on 1 versus 2 seed. If the Yankees are the number 1 seed, they'll play the winner of Orioles versus KC. If they're the number 2 seed, which can still happen, they would play winner of Houston versus the Tigers.
Yeah. But I would say Royals, that's who I want to see first because I think that's probably the team we have the best chance of moving on against. And then I'm crazy because I'm going to totally regret it, but I want one more round of Houston in the CS. I want them so bad, but I know it's like I'm terrified of playing them at the same time because I know that they'll probably beat us because they've owned us. But man, if we beat them to go to the World Series, that might be my World Series. We could lose the World Series, which will crush me, and it'll take me a little bit to recover. But to know that we finally, exercise those demons, because Minute Maid has been an absolute horror show for us in like the recent history that we've had with them, and I hate that team. I'm part of a generation of Yankee fans where I was born in 2000. So obviously, like, I'm a pretty young guy. I hate Houston more than I hate Boston. And for me, that totally makes sense. Like for you with the 04 series, like I think that probably hits home for you more. But for me, the whole like cheating thing, like I despise that team more than anybody in the league.
Yeah, the 04 one still gives me nightmares, man. That was a
Yeah.
tough one. All right, final question before we get to the recap. Let's go through this pretty quickly here. So I'm going to give you 3 choices, and you can guarantee one of these things happening. So I tried to make it difficult. So we can have 1, guaranteed red-hot Giancarlo Stanton in the playoffs. Nuclear Stanton. Option number 2, Garrett Cole continues to pitch at ace level like he has the last 2 starts for every start he makes in the postseason. No matter how many that is, whether it's 1, whether it's 3, whether it's 5. And then number 3 is Luke Weaver is lights out whenever he pitches. So 5-out saves, 3-out saves, continues to dominate. Which one would you go with?
Oh, man, that's really hard because all 3 of those would be absolutely electric. But I'm going to go with Nuclear Stanton because Nuclear Stanton in the playoffs, when he's literally hitting 600-foot home runs like every at-bat, is just so electric. It gets the crowd so juiced. And also that would change this offense. And in recent years, our problem has we can't get the big hit. And I just know there's going to be a big spot in like the 7th inning or something like that where the bases are loaded and there's like 2 outs, Stanton's up and he hits an absolute nuke. That's what you want. That's what you need right there. I think that that's probably the most valuable option out of everything that you listed there, just because hitting has been an issue for us. And I think the reason we had such a magical run in 17 is we got a lot of big hits. That Gary Sanchez double, the Didi Gregorius 3-run home run against, the Twins. We need that. How about all 3 I'm seeing, which would be...
Yeah. Well, once again, you're missing the point, Sam. This is...
But yes, I'm going with Stanton for that.
I think I would also go with Stanton just because that means you have to pitch to Soto and Judge, right?
Yeah.
You have to, because if you walk him and he's hitting 3-run home runs, game's over, baby. So you got to pitch to him. So that's the one I'm picking. Quick word from our sponsor, then we'll run through the recap real quick and get on with our lives before we face Paul Skeens.
I love a great deal, but I'm not going to run sprints in the outfield just to save a few bucks. It's got to be easy. With Mint Mobile, it really is that easy to get wireless for just $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. The best part? Purchase and activation are super simple. Honestly, the longest part of the whole process is waiting on hold while you break up with your old provider. Just go to mintmobile.com/territory. Right now, all of their 3-month plans are only $15 a month, and that includes the unlimited plan. And all of their plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network. You can even use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your current number along with all your contacts. So, if you want to get this new customer offer and your first 3 months of premium wireless for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/territory. That's mintmobile.com/territory. Cut your wireless bill down to just $15 a month with Mint Mobile. Upfront $45 payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers only. Speed may slow after 40 gigabytes on the unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
All right, let's go. Let's get it going.
When the ad read is too long for the background music. So Rodon throwing his slider a lot early in the game. Worked around a couple of hits in the first inning. Both teams were very quiet early. Jared Jones looked phenomenal tonight. Upper 90s, good slide. He was just filthy. Dominguez made a nice solid catch in left field in the corner. I thought that was good that he didn't let that drop. I was panicked. Were you like when that ball went up in the air?
A little bit, but he cracked a smile there. Did you see that? He
Yeah,
kind of was
yeah.
like, yeah, I caught it.
That's good that he's got a good sense of humor about it anyway.
Yeah.
Trent Grisham made an awesome catch tonight in center field. Did you see that one in the straightaway where he was basically sprinting dead center? That reminded me of Gerald Williams during Doc Gooden's no-hitter. I don't know if you ever watched that, but Gerald Williams made an unbelievable catch off of A-Rod that night. Take away an extra base hit. Jose Trevino gunned down a couple of runners tonight. That was good to see. Great swing from Oswaldo Cabrera to rip a double to right field. Jazz Chisholm ended up bringing in the first couple of runs with a base hit. He's very quietly beginning to heat up. He also stole his 40th base. Had a couple of steals tonight, TK.
Yeah, I mean, he's been an absolute great fit. That take of mine is aging like fine wine. It's great to see for me. A little pat myself on the back there. And yeah, he's adding electricity, which is exactly what I expected. You needed speed, you needed athleticism. His personality seems to gel well with the clubhouse. The guys seem to like him. Remember that report? He's a clubhouse cancer. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
So he's been great.
Top 6, Rodon allowed the back-to-back solo home runs, number 30 and 31 on the season. And then the Pirates went up 4-2 on a home run by Reynolds off of Tommy Kahnle. I tell you what, Reynolds would have been a beast if he had been a Yankee. He hits so well every time he's in this ballpark. But the Pirates hang on to win 4-2.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Jazz looked good on defense tonight, too, over there.
Yeah, he honestly, he's looked good at defense at third. It is super impressive that he just showed up here and just learned third on the fly. That is impressive.
I think his personality allows him to do stuff like that. To just just wing it. He's one of those guys. He has to give a speech in front of people. He doesn't write it down. He just whatever. He's doing stand-up comedy. He's just I'll just make up some jokes when I get there. Whatever. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get some final thoughts in. Get your final comments into the chat as we have 2 games left in the Major League Baseball season. R.I.P. to Gerald Williams. Went way too young, man. Way too young. Good friend of Derek Jeter. Dominguez had 4 3-2 counts tonight, according to Kian Patel. That's good. He also walked a couple of times. He's still having good at-bats. He's also hit the ball hard a few times that he has had nothing to show for it. Like he lined out to right field the other day. He lined out to short one time. So I think he's been a little bit unlucky. But the bat speed is there. The eye is there. I think he's going to be a good player. Any final thoughts on Dominguez before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think he needs licks. He needs at-bats and reps. I think I'd like to see him try to get into at least one postseason game just to feel that, just to know what that's like. And I expect him to be on the opening day roster next season, clean up your defense a little bit, but he just needs run, just like Wells and Volpe got.
I think he should be center field next year, right? I think if they re-sign Juan Soto, I know you're going to sacrifice some defense, but you got to line it up like this. Judge in right, Soto in left, Dominguez in center. That's how I do it.
Yes,
I know Judge is better. I know he's a better defender, and he'd be better in center and left because it's bigger. But he steals home runs in right field, once a week practically. He's got unbelievable arm.
We'll talk about this when we do off-season GM episode, but I got a radical thing to do to make that all work if they bring back Soto. I thought of that a lot.
All right, well, save it in the canister. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, all that jazz. And we'll see you tomorrow. Day game, Yankees versus Paul Skeens. TK, thank you once again, and we'll see you in the playoffs.
See ya, man.
Ball game over.
If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and give us a subscribe. It helps other Yankees fans find the channel. We're also on all your favorite podcast platforms and social media. Join the community, have some fun. We're here after every game. This is Pinstripe Territory.